All right, so we've got the Octatrack all out here. We have it connected via DIN. We're going to go to track 1, MIDI track 1. We want to make sure that everything inside here is set up properly. So one of the first things that you want to do is take a look at your MIDI channel. You'll see that by default it is set to off. We're going to just bounce it over to 1, hit enter, and now we have it all set up. Quickly bounce out of there. Okay, now we have these 6 sequencer lanes and they're all set to off. If you hold down function and press on them, it activates the sequencer lanes for those CC numbers. Now you have 6 there, and you have 6 in all of the other channels on here as well, all the 8 banks of the Octatrack. Now, you have to set up triggerless trigs all the way along. You don't want to be triggering everything inside there, so you want triggerless trigs throughout. So you hold down function, hit your trigs, and that's how you get all that taken care of. So now we're going to bounce over to the MPC. Now we want to make sure that the MPC can read the incoming channels. All right. So you go into your MIDI learn area. Now you want to click enable your learning, hit the plus sign, and without touching any of the other knobs, you turn the one knob. Then you hit plus again, and then turn the next knob, and plus again, turn the next knob, and you get the idea after this. Don't hit anything else. Keep in mind, you also want to be doing this while the sequencer is not moving. Otherwise, you'll just be confusing the hell out of the entire machine. Oh, I had to back up and do one there again. All right. So you turn off the MIDI learn, and you'll see that we have all of these MIDI lanes now as part of the Akai 1. So one will talk right to the other in accordance to those, right? Now what we have to do is decide, what we're going to apply these sequencer lanes to. So right now I have a simple groove playing. Yeah, simple groove, pretty stock. It's all coming off the Akai. Now we just got to find something that we want to modulate. So I'm going to grab this filter. And right now you'll see nothing on the Octatrack does anything over there because we've not yet assigned anything, right? So we're just going to hear this real quick, hear how it sounds. Great. So now we want to make sure we can assign everything. So go back into our MIDI control, grab the top sequencer lane. We're going to go down to program. Trying to remember which one I was using. The top one. All right. So yeah, grab the top one. There. Now it's not pad. We want to go into the actual program. Go in there. You find your insert, and you'll see all of the filter stuff, and which I've got the cutoff frequency. So now when I turn the knob over here, you'll see it on the MPC. Now, of course, this opens up usage of the Elektron sequencer on the Akai, which is pretty darn cool. So I'm going to go in and just start smashing in some random steps. You can also see it does the live record, not just the step record, but the live record. And now everything is operating as it should over here. So now we want to see what are the things that we can do, right? So we have all these other lanes of sequence that we can work with. You can take that and you can change it to whatever you like. I mean, there's so many different things on the MPC that you can choose as a modulation destination, it's a little unreal. You can go anywhere and do pretty much anything from the Octa over into the MPC. I love the combination of instruments and power. It's sort of like having an ultra analog 4, if you ever use that. The ability to turn on and off the sequencer while it's playing. And that just, it doesn't stop playing. It just stops sending that MIDI information, so it holds it wherever it was. It's a good method of live experimentation. Being able to turn on and off parameter sequencers while the actual sequencer keeps going. Now, of course, we want to be able to put this information on there, so we're just going to learn that in. There. So now all that information has been placed onto the MPC. So we've disabled the Octatrack channel. Now we're going to have it open the grid. We'll open our information section, go over to, let's open that up a little bit. There we go. Have a look at it. And then we could bounce over to our parameter lanes, and you'll see right there, there's the filter cut off. And we just press on that. You'll see the exact sequence that we put in from the Octatrack already in there for us to work with and edit how we see fit. So you can kind of dick around with a little bit after the fact. So that's a really nice feature. Now it's a good time to talk about CC. Right now we've been working with everything on absolute CC values. That's not the only option on an absolute CC value. I mean, it is wherever the sequence says it is. If you go to relative, things open up a little bit more. You can decide on something being specific to where it's set up on the Octatrack. But if you go relative, you can make it so that it is just a variation of wherever your knob setting is inside the Akai. Now that doesn't sound really good because I have so many extreme settings that it doesn't matter where I'm turning the knob, it is throwing that information all over the place. So we're going to get rid of, I think, most of our steps. So we clear that off, put in a whole bunch of new triggerless trigs, and we're going to enter in some CC data that is smaller variations, something that will be caught in an offset rather than working with absolutes. So go neutral and just do little deviations, right? Little changes that you can make all the way along. And I'm just throwing them in randomly. You can get as tweaky as you want, right? So now everything should operate. There we go. Now everything works as it should. The CC value is not all over the place. It is relative to where we have our knob position. Now, of course, you multiply all this by the 8 channels on the Octatrack times the number of sequencer lanes that you have inside of it. And you have so much data you can do. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I hope you find this useful. I'll come up with you with another Octatrack power trip shortly. Thanks for listening.